Dagenham and Redbridge remain your leaders over in the Vanarama National League as we enter matchday number 6. But what about the big boys and the chasing pack? How do they do? How do they fare? We'll get into it next. That's right, folks, back once again with another prediction video today. We're looking forward to match number 6 in the Vanarama National League, and we'll get to that in just 1 second. If you do, wave in, smash your subscribe and hit your bang up today with all things Blackburn Rovers related, world football related, non-league football related. We're going to know here under Warruski. That's right, of course, Dagenham and Redbridge keeping up the heat at the top of the table, but of course breathing down the necks is Boreham, and of course one of the bigger boys, Chesterfield. But how do they all get on this past weekend? We'll take a look at that, all of it, in just a second. Of course, a big shout out to those VRBs. That's right, our Patreons, and we got 2 new Patreons this past week. Well done to Connor Medlin. A big thank you to Connor Medlin, of course, for joining the Patreon gang. So he did join us last week. And also a big shout out to Andrew Watton as well. Whoop-a-doo! He also joined us this past week. So we got 2 brand new Patreons, boys and girls. I'll tell you what, the Patreon platform is gonna kick into life very soon. We've got a lot coming at you. I've got a brand new channel, which of course not exclusive, but of course first look eyes on that content will go to the patrons at least a week ahead than anybody else. And of course that's more to come. Of course that's going to develop over the next couple of weeks. I think I might even be starting recording this week. We'll see how we're getting on. But of course that content available first to patrons, but then it'll be released later on down the line. More about that will be developed as we get into it. But anyway, let's kick it on forward then, or kick it on back, should we say. Take a look at how we all got on last Tabarun then, shall we? I don't think I did that good in the National League. I'm still treading in my water, sort of, seeing how we go. As are some of the teams here, of course. Aldershot against Solihull Moors. Aldershot, I think they're in a bit of trouble. So far, no points on the board. 2-1 win in the end for Solihull Moors, and I got the one bang on the nose. Should be bloody green, but you know what? It's quite hard these days to keep up the heat, but we're getting there. We're getting into a rhythm. Meanwhile, Bromley against Boreham Wood, of course, the big boys. Boreham Wood, 5-goal throw there, 3-2 win over Bromley, who are down towards the bottom, and of course, Boreham good at the moment. As it stands, I think they would either get promoted or they would get in the playoffs. Still figuring all that out as well. So 5-goal throw, go for Boreham Wood. Meanwhile, Chesterfield also can only muster a point. Dropped a couple of points to Dover, got their first point of the campaign this past weekend. Of course, they were negative 11 for last year's shenanigans last time. I mean, Barnet against Eastleigh was all square on that one as well. Probably advantage Barnet on that. I think they needed some points. Again, only their second point of the campaign. Meanwhile, Weymouth against Notts County also was a draw. Wow. Notts County dropped some points there. Down to 8th now in the table. Yet to taste defeat, though. Halifax against Southend United. Halifax are moving the chains. 3-1 win for them. 2-1 win for Southend for me. Southend also in a bit of trouble. They're on 14th right now. Kicking off for Kingsland against those leaders. 2-1 win for Dagenham. Also yet to taste defeat. Kingsland did alright. They were doing alright, weren't they? No, they're not 18th at the moment. So yeah, went with the right one on that one. Stockport County against Yeovil. Went with Stockport, but I guess what? Yeovil got their asses, or showed them what it was all about. 3-0 win for them, going up to 7th in the table. Torquay could only lose to Grimsby. Big win for them, up to 4th in the table. Torquay in a bit of trouble, down in 19th. Of course, last season's playoff losers. Wealdstone against Altrincham. That was a 1-0 win for Wealdstone. Used to live down that neck of the woods. And then, of course, Deadpool FC, excuse me, with a 1-0 win over Woking. Wow. I'm the 2 to win myself. They're up to 5th right now in the table. Of course, there it is, just in case you haven't looked at it yourself, the table in all its glory. Dagenham and Redbridge and Boreham Wood 11 on 13 points, with Chesterfield breathing down the necks. Of course, Grimsby Town and Wrexham all unbeaten in that cluster. Notts County also unbeaten, but of course that's about it. But sandwiched between all that is, of course, Yeovil Town with 1 defeat and a game in hand. Win that game in hand, guess what? You go 3rd in the table. That's the situation there. At the bottom of the table is Dover with a negative 11, but they got their first point on the board, which is 1 point more than Aldershot, who also in a bit of trouble at the moment. So we'll see how they get on later on, of course, but let's take a look at the leaderboard for this week and this week alone. It's Cavan Wright leading the charge with 7, a respectable, again, a very impressive 7 over the National League there. Uman Hussein not too far away either. Jim Watton up there. And the chasing bloody pack. So well done to you. There's Connor Medlin, of course, latest member of the Patreon gang. But anyway, here is the overall leaderboard for the situations at the moment over in the National League. It is JSB's FC are great, with 28 points of the Yana Busters up there as well. Tom Stain and Alex Well. I did try and clean up a lot of these. I'm hoping hoping I got all of them cleaned up in this one, but it looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, so that's the situation. There's just 1 point clear at the moment, but of course it is a very, very early days. You can still get into it, still get involved. And of course, we do have the manager of the month stuff, which I will get back to that. Of course, this is Sunday. I work today, so it's I'm trying to get these out now, and I don't have the time to talk about that. But of course, they will be talked about maybe, hopefully, over the next few videos, maybe in the championship video or whatever. But that's of course to look forward to later. But this is the situation if you want to get involved in the Prediction League, cut.ly/non-league, and use the QR code or the code on the screen right there with the URL. But right here, right now, we're going to jump in the deep end and take a little look at the next round of matches. So here we go. Kicking off with Altrincham taking on King's Bloody Lynn. Again, I've only got basic odds on this one, but of course these two sides played each other 3 times since 2019, 1 apiece. Of course, the biggest win, the only win for Altrincham was a 3-0 win. The biggest win the other way was a 2-0 win for Kings. And there's been 1 draw as well between the two sides, but of course last round in Altrincham was a 3-0 win for Altrincham. In fact, the home side has never lost between these two sides, going back for a couple of matches. Altrincham coming to us on the back of that defeat to Wealdstone. Meanwhile, Kings Lynn coming to us on the back of that defeat to Dagenham and Redbridge. So far, not so good for either two sides in mid-table at the moment. Not much to get excited about for the time being, but again, still early days. Of course, odds on this one, we have probably Altrincham are your favourites on this one. Kings Lynn, your underdogs, and of course the draw in the middle there. I'm going to go with a 1-0 win for the hosts. That's Altrincham. Next, of course, we have joint leaders is Boreham taking on Halifax Town. A bit of a top of the table crunch clash here. It is second up against sixth. Played each other 10 times since 2015. 5 wins for Boreham, 2 wins for Halifax Town, and 3 draws. The biggest win for Boreham was just a 2-0 win. The biggest win there is a 2-1 win. Coming into this, 75% form for Boreham, winning unbeaten the last 5. Meanwhile, Halifax Town coming into this, just 1 defeat the past 4. 67% form. Last time I played though, of course, in Boreham was a 0-0 draw back in October 2020. Last time that Halifax Town won, though, you got to go back a bit. You got to go back a few occasions. Go back to 2018. It was 2-1 win for Halifax in Halifax Town. Of course, Boreham coming to us on the back of that win against Bromley. Meanwhile, Halifax Town coming to us on the back of that win against Southend United. Of course, it is second up against 6th in the table. I've got to go with the odds on this one. We have Boreham they are your favourites. Of course, Halifax Town are a little bit your underdogs on this one. About the same odds for the draw. Going to go with a 2-1 win for the hosts though. Boreham, of course, doing good, and of course, hopefully, it could be back in there, could be in contention for a long stay in that top end of the table. Kicking on forward, we have Dagenham and Redbridge. They are the leaders up against Weymouth, who are, of course, in about 9th at the moment. Of course, played each other 4 times, 2006. No wins for Weymouth, 2 wins for Dagenham, and 2 draws. The biggest win for Dagenham was a 4-1 win. They come into 75% form as well. Weymouth come into 42% form. Unbeaten in the last 3 games though. Last time played each other in Dagenham was a 1-1 draw back in March 2021. Weymouth coming to us on the back of that draw against Notts County. They did beat Solihull Moors prior to that. They actually and also picked up a win against Maidenhead. So a good run of 3 games at the moment. Dagenham, though, 1-2, lost 1 of the last 3. Picked up a win against Kings Lynn as well. They'll fancy the chances on this one. Dagenham are red hot favourites. Weymouth are you massively underdogged on this one. 2-0 win for the hosts on this one. Dagenham Redbridge will take it to the house. Eastleigh will take on Dover this weekend, and again, I'm sure the hosts will be the favourites. Played each other 26 times since 2009. 16 wins for Dover, 8 wins for Eastleigh, and 2 draws. The biggest win for Eastleigh, 5-3 win. The biggest win for Dover was a 3-0 win. They come into 25% form each. Yes. What we're looking at here, Dover actually won once in the past 6. Eastleigh picked up 3 draws in the last 6. Of course, last time played each other over in Eastleigh was a 2-2 draw back in December 2018. That was in Eastleigh. Of course, Eastleigh coming to us at the back of that draw against Barnet. They did draw against Kings Lynn as well. Back-to-back draws for them. Meanwhile, Dover coming to us. Picking up a draw against Chesterfield, which is a good result for them. Of course, Chesterfield should be fancying their chances to go quite far in this one. Eastleigh are your favourites on this one. Dover are your underdogs. But of course, if Dover can get a win here, they might start to believe that they could stick it around for another season. Going to go with a 1-1 draw on this one. Point to the bag for Dover and Eastleigh. Next up, of course, Chesterfield taking it on. Of course, Barnet. Let's get into this bad boy then. Played to the 17 times in 2017. 9 wins for Chesterfield, 5 wins for Barnet, and we've got 3 draws. The biggest win for Chesterfield was a 6-0 win. The biggest win in the was a 3-0 win. Last time played, of course, over in Chesterfield was a 6-0 win. That's back in December 2020. They've actually got back-to-back games with them against them, both home and away, and they've got back-to-back clean sheets. Of course, they're actually unbeaten in the last 4 matches against Barnet, picking up a draw as well, another win in that. Coming into Chesterfield, of course, back-to-back draws for them, drawing with Dover and drawing with Bromley. Coming into Barnet, coming into on the back of a draw against Eastleigh as well. well. So, yeah, not the best of form for both of these two sides at the moment. But the odds, red hot favourites are your Chesterfield, of course, Barnet are your massive underdogs on this one, and the draws in between. 2-0 win for Chesterfield on this one to take it to the house. We have Woking up against Bromley this midweek as well, or whatever it is. Played the 17 times 2009, 8 wins for Woking, 7 wins for Bromley, and 2 draws. The biggest win for Woking was a 2-0 win. The biggest win for Bromley was a 2-0 win as well. They've actually scored 34 goals against each other over the course of those 17 matches. Last time they played each other, of course, over in Woking was a 7-goal thriller, going in favour of Bromley, 4-3 in the end. That was back in April 2021. Of course, Bromley coming to the back of that lost to Boreham Wood. Woking coming to this on the back of that loss against Deadpool FC. That's right. And of course, coming into this, the odds pretty even, split down the middle on this one. Could go either way, but I think that the away team are your favourites. Only just though. For me, I've gone with the draw, 0-0 in the end. Grimsby will take on Wrexham, Deadpool FC. That's right, coming at you at wherever they play their football. I don't even know. I can't remember. Played 21 times 2004, 10 wins for Grimsby, 7 wins for Wrexham, and 4 draws. The biggest win for Grimsby was a 3-1 win. The biggest win there was a 5-2 win. Coming into this, 67% form for Wrexham, 92% form for Grimsby. Last time I played in Grimsby was a 1-0 win for Grimsby. That was back in March 2016. Grimsby coming to this on the back of that win against Torquay. Prior to that, they also beat Barnet. Wrexham also unbeaten so far, but they're coming to on the back of that 1-0 win over Woking. Tight one this one. I think Grimsby are going to be your favourites. In fact, it's right down the middle. You could go either way, and of course probably a draw in between. I think I've actually gone with a win for Grimsby on this one, so I think they're going to have their first loss of the campaign, Deadpool FC, this time around. Next, of course, Maidenhead. They're going to be taking on Stockport, of course, over in Maidenhead. Played the 6 times since 2018. 2 wins for Stockport, 1 for Maidenhead, 3 draws. The biggest win for Maidenhead, in fact, the only win was a 1-0 win. The biggest win there was a 2-1 win. Last time around, of course, over in Maidenhead was a 0-0 draw. In fact, it's been back-to-back draws between two sides, both home and away. Last time that Maidenhead won was a 1-0 win back in August 2019. Maidenhead coming to us on the back of that loss against Torquay, whereas their opposition, Stockport, coming to us on the back of that loss against Yeovil. Stockport are your favourites on this one, only just. Maidenhead, of course, underdogs, even though they are at home. 2-1 win for Stockport to get back to winning ways for me. Next up we have Notts County taking on Wealdstone, of course, down at Notts County. Played each other 2 times in 2020, 2 wins out of 2 for the host. They come into 67% form, also unbeaten. Their biggest win over Wealdstone was a 3-0 win. Of course, the Wealdstone coming to 50% form for them. Last time around, of course, in Notts County was in fact that 3-0 win. Coming into this, Notts County did lose to, they did draw with Weymouth. Wealdstone did pick up a win against Altrincham, but they're actually unbeaten in the last 3 games, picking up a couple of draws as well against Dagenham and, of course, Southend. Big teams that. So I do fancy maybe, but I think Notts County will run away with this one. They are red hot favourites on this one, of course. Wealdstone are massively underdogged. 2-0 win for Notts County, just a 2-0 win. In the end, kicking off for this, Solihull Moors against Torquay, who had a bit of a nightmare start to the season. Played each other 7 times since 2016. 2 wins for Solihull, 4 wins for Torquay, and 1 draw. The biggest win for either of the two sides is a 3-0 win. Of course, coming into this, Torquay last time around at Solihull Moors was a 2-1 win for Torquay. They've actually won back-to-back over Solihull Moors. Coming into this, Torquay did lose to Grimsby. Actually, not great for them. A 3-1 loss them. Solihull Moors did come into the back of a win against Aldershot. They did narrowly lose to Weymouth, though, the match prior to that. Of course, odds on this one, of course, Solihull Moors are your favourites. Torquay are, in fact, your underdogs on this one. I think I've gone with a win for Solihull Moors. 3-1 in the end. And then finally, down at Root Soul, boys and girls, it is Southend United up against Aldershot. Of course, Aldershot are in a bit of trouble. Southend doing all right. Well, no, they're not actually in 14th at the moment. Played each other 6 times in 2010. 4 wins for Aldershot, 1 for Southend, and 1 draw. The biggest win for Southend was a 2-0 win. The biggest win was a 2-0 win. Last time around, of course, over in Southend, in Root Soul was a 2-1 win for Aldershot back in October 2012. In League 2, might I add. In fact, the home side hasn't won this game since 2012 when Aldershot beat Southend as well. Aldershot haven't won against... Southend have not won against Aldershot at home over the last course of these 5 or 6 matches here. They come into the Southend on the back of that loss against Halifax Town. Of course, Aldershot come to this on the back of that loss against Solihull Moors, and they've also yet to get a point. Red hot favourites will be Southend on this one, of course, and Aldershot are your underdogs on this. Going to go with a 2-0 win for the hosts to take it to the house. That is it. That's my picks for it. Be sure to get your picks in as well using the savvy code CUTLEAGUE/non-league. Get involved with it, boys and girls, and see if you can challenge for the tip at the top of the table. That is right. In the prediction league, it is free to enter. Get involved, and of course, before you can get out of it, make sure you bang the thumbs up, bang the subscribe, check the links down below. Also, hit the little bell so you don't miss a beat. Check out the links down below. I'm on Twitter, Twitch, and of course Patreon if you want to become the latest brother from another mother, just like Conor Medlin, just like Andrew Watton, and of course you can become my new best mates for life. Get involved with it, of course, from as little, from as much as you like. Check it all out. But until then, I'll see you soon. Until then, we are done.